Please share your thoughts in comments and like this video. Loa, a low-rank adventurer, was treated poorly for his item creation skill. But with his determination, Loa managed to obtain a new skill after a long time. He got magic creation skill where he could trade his levels to obtain magic skills like flame spear, flame ball and more. He decided to become unrivaled with that skill. In one of his expeditions, he saved a girl named Sonia who was abandoned by her comrades. After getting their revenge as they revealed their plot, Loa and Sonia decided to form a party. The next morning, Loa was sleeping soundly in his room. Sonia went to his room and tried to wake him up. Loa opened his eyes slightly due to noise and saw Sonia inside. Since it's way past the morning, she asked him to wake up, otherwise. She took her huge shield and struck it down. Loa managed to dodge it by instinct, but he was totally shocked. Sonia greeted him, but he was shocked to see her inside his room. Sonia mentioned that it was because their rooms were close to each other. Coincidentally, when she wanted to wake him up, the door also wasn't locked. He tried to remember the last night. Indeed, they came to know that they stayed at the same place. But he didn't remember much after that because he drank too much last night. Sonia inquired whether he would always wake up at this hour. Loa replied that he always wanted to sleep peacefully in the morning. Sonia found that Loa was not good at waking up early in the morning. So she decided to help him wake up daily, but Loa was against it. He knew that she would try to wake him up just like before. Sonia asked to wake up earlier if he didn't want to be woken up that way. She left the room while commenting that Loa's face looked cute in his sleep. He watched Sonia leaving the room and came to a conclusion. That forming a party was actually a difficult thing. Afterwards, Sonia successfully submitted the party creating form to the guild. They could look at other members' status now after the party was registered. Loa confirmed it and he was amazed to see the defense stats of Sonia. Her stats were 8 times higher than him. Sonia was amazed to see Loa having 2 unique skills. Loa was confused at that and asked why she was surprised when everyone else was the same. Sonia denied that as she never saw anyone with 2 unique skills. Even though she had formed a party with many members. She also likes Loa, who used his skill to save other people instead of using it for profit. She felt that Loa was a great and kind person. Loa asked her to stop as he was not used to getting complimented by others and he felt embarrassed by that. After that, they planned for that day's schedule. Loa suggested entering the E-rank dungeon. But he asked for Sonia's approval. Since it was the same dungeon where she was betrayed by her ex-party members. Loa wanted to go to the innermost sanctum where the King Frog was. In this village, there were only 2 dungeons, E-ranked and AF-ranked 1. If they could defeat both the boss monsters, Loa was sure that they would be able to gain another title. Since Sonia didn't have one, he was also planning to get one for her. Since having a title would increase one's stats considerably. Loa had already attained the title Foil Dungeon's Interloper. Since Sonia had already gone through a lot, he didn't want to force her. But Sonia was determined to go there and she also felt that it was alright since she had Loa with her. As Loa got the answer, he planned to create a new skill first. He decided to acquire a fireball, which was the first skill that piqued his interest. It cost 200 MP but the damages were at 4,000. It also would take him 3 seconds to cast it. It was better than the flame spear, but the only drawback was the cost of MP. He explained about his skill to Sonia, where he exchanged his levels to get a new skill. His level had been reduced from 60 to 10, which means that he would die from a single hit of the strong monsters. Sonia was shocked to hear that Loa had been always doing that. He was very bold, but Sonia agreed that she would never be as reckless as him. She promised to protect Loa from all the attacks. Loa mentioned that he was counting on her. As Loa was curious to test his new spell. They entered the E-rank dungeon and encountered the kobolds. Loa asked Sonia to pin them down for 4 seconds so that he could activate his spell. Sonia successfully managed to get those puppies pinpointed at one place. It was easy for Loa to take aim and kill them as they were focused on Sonia. He used a flame spear and killed those 2 kobolds with a single strike. It was a double kill as he killed them both at the same time. Sonia praised Loa's skill once again. But Loa thanked her as it was only possible because she distracted them. But at that time, that cute kobold from before came to ruin the atmosphere. Of course, it got the punishment for that. Finally, they managed to get to the bottom floor. They had to kill the boss to gain the title, which was proof that they conquered the dungeon. Loa wondered if that king frog would be still there as he just killed that yesterday. Sonia found out that Loa didn't know anything about where the monsters originated from. All Loa knew was that he had to kill the monsters. Sonia explained that the monsters were born due to the magic particles in the air. The denser the particles are, the stronger the monsters are. So it's very common to encounter stronger enemies that are deep into a dungeon. So even if Loa killed that king frog, another one might just spawn again. Loa confirmed what Sonia said as the barrier was up again. Previously it was destroyed when he killed the king frog yesterday. Seeing Sonia dejected, Loa once again assured her that he would never run away. Sonia also trusted him and regained her composure. They entered the barrier and confronted the king frog. She asked Loa to start chanting as she would block its attacks. They were determined to beat it no matter how many times they had to try. Loa was shocked to find that the king frog was a bit bigger than the king frog he fought before. The king frog started to attack them. Sonia went ahead to block that attack as they had also grown stronger than before. She deflected the attack quite easily. Loa was amazed to see that none of the attacks were even touching him. He was relieved as he could try new spells without worry now. It would take 3 seconds to cast his newly acquired spell. He cast the fireball spell within 3 seconds. He used multicasting and created numerous fireballs in the air. He attacked the king frog and bombarded it with numerous fireballs. He killed it with just that one attack. Sonia never believed that it would be that easy as they had struggled against it previously. But Loa believed that they could defeat it easily as he had obtained 4,000 damage skill. The rewards were distributed to them and Loa went from 38 to 58 in one go. He was surprised to get many experiences even though it was shared between them. Sonia was also happy as she had managed to get the title. They had attained their goal, but that was just a beginning to Loa. He went ahead to collect the materials from the king frog which he had forgotten last time. Seeing that, Sonia commented that boys sure love hunting. In the end, they got D rank, E rank magic stones and king frog skin which was worth 34,000 more. Loa stored it all in his item box which was really a convenient magic to have. They would get quite a sum with that. Loa revealed that he was planning to challenge D rank dungeon next. Since his village had no dungeons above E rank, he decided to leave the foil village tomorrow. After they reached the village, Sonia also believed that it was a good idea to leave the foil village, since his strength would only be wasted if he stayed there. Loa also felt the same for Sonia and they both agreed to challenge D rank dungeon. Now Loa was at level 78 and Sonia was at level 82. But they didn't know where to find D rank dungeons. Loa also had no idea as he had never left this village from his childhood. Sonia mentioned that they had to buy information and a map. But a map to a dungeon is rare, but Loa knew a place to get that. Loa went to the only item shop of Foil Village which belonged to Carter's father. Carter welcomed him with much respect. He had bullied him before but changed his attitude after witnessing Loa's new skills. Loa was amused to see Carter's change in personality where he behaved like a seasoned salesman. That's when Sonia entered the shop after some time. She seemed to find that Carter and Loa were best friends. Carter was shocked to see a girl along with Loa. He cursed him to die and Loa found that Carter went back to his old self. Loa decided to ignore that and asked him about a map that could lead him to the dungeon. Carter replied that all of them were sold and berated Loa to not know about the rarity of it as it was wanted by all the adventurers. He called Loa an idiot. That's when Carter's father came out from the room and berated Carter to not call his customers an idiot. He presented a map he had used when he was an adventurer. From the look, Loa could say that the map was handwritten, which means it was precious. But Carter's father wanted to give them that as an apology for his dumb son who tried to frame Loa. Besides, he also felt that it would be great to leave the map for a strong adventurer. He asked them to go to the city of Run Belk for a dungeon which was in the northeast of Foil Village. It was also only 2 days of travel from there, which is the shortest distance. Loa thanked the old man for his intel. Loa revealed that they were leaving tomorrow. Carter's father expressed that it would be quiet from here onwards, but Carter was burning with rage to see Loa with a cute girl. Carter's father looked forward to seeing how much Loa would grow when they met again. The next morning, Loa yawned as he felt sleepy. He was being dragged by Sonia as he refused to wake up early. But Sonia wanted to depart at the early sun, which is also good for the body. Loa felt disappointed a little as he was leaving the village. He went through hell for a skill and even questioned why it even bothered to appear now. He wondered if his hard work was finally paying off. He thanked the foil village which took care of him and departed from there. As they traveled, they encountered numerous weak monsters on the way. Like the slime which Loa hunted the most at his level 1. The magic particles in the atmosphere seem to be weaker there. But they still need to have their guard up. It's rare, but there were still cases of magic particles stockpiling. So there was a chance of strong monsters appearing. But Loa didn't believe that monster could be as strong as the monsters he faced in the dungeon. Suddenly they heard a scream. They turned and saw a carriage running towards them. They found out that a little girl was driving that carriage. She screamed as she asked someone to help her as she would die otherwise. Loa and Sonia decided to help her as they saw a huge shadow behind the carriage. They believed that the monster couldn't be that strong. But it turned out to be false, as the monster was a grizzly which was rank D monster. It needed level 130 at least to confront it. Sonia with level 82 and Loa with level 78 were totally scared to see that. Loa and Sonia encountered Mr. Bear on the road while traveling. Sonia was totally scared as she stuttered to speak. Loa asked her to calm down as he didn't need her to confront it. Since it was already at a distance from them, Loa had the time to activate his magic without any interruption. He casted Great Fireball and attacked it. He managed to kill that huge bear in one shot, and the little girl was surprised to see that. Sonia also complimented Loa and he got 2 levels from the experience and reached level 80. The little girl ran towards Loa and hugged him to express her thanks. She cried as she managed to overcome the predicament which had her life on the line. She introduced herself as Masha, who thought that she would die while being nibbled by the grizzly from head to toe and die. Sonia berated her for hugging Loa with that face as she was dirtying his clothes. Sonia provided her handkerchief to Masha as she believed that she would look cuter without her tears. Masha was moved by the kindness of Sonia. Masha revealed that she was a merchant. Since she was already familiar with the route, she let her guard down and failed to notice the magic particles that were piling up. She was planning to go Run Belk, but it seemed that she went in the opposite direction. Loa was glad to hear it and asked her to give them a ride on her carriage. Masha also wants to agree. But she had a bunch of products on her carriage, so there was no space for them. She prepared a huge amount of products as Run Belk had a numerous number of adventurers and travelers. But it was not a problem for Loa. He went near the carriage. He activated his item box to store all the items inside it. Masha was shocked to see her products disappear, and Loa revealed his magic to her. Masha was amused to see that type of magic he could use, which would save her a lot of trouble in the future. Sonia also praised Loa for being smart. But he felt that Sonia was treating him like a dog. Loa had a great idea for the huge space they got. He gathered some dry grass and prepared a sleeping carriage to sleep. Masha thought that using magic would cause fatigue, but Sonia countered that Loa was just a sleepyhead. The 3 of them prepared to go to Run Belk. On the way, Masha and Sonia had a good time, but Loa spent the whole time sleeping. They woke up Loa finally when they had reached their destination. Loa was amused to see a ton of buildings and people around. Masha could see that it was their first time there. She exclaimed that there were a lot of adventurers in the city to take requests. Loa and Sonia asked Masha to stop the carriage as they decided to walk from there. Loa dropped all her products after that. Masha was amused to see that once again, so she asked Loa to become a merchant with her. Sonia denied that as Loa was with her. Masha felt it was a shame, but she hoped to meet them again as she would always be traveling around. She asked them to promote her shop when they become famous adventurers and said her farewell to them. Afterwards, Loa and Sonia decided to stay at the Run Belk Inn. Sonia proposed to stay in the same room to save money. But Loa was adamant about having 2 separate rooms even if it was expensive. Sonia was fine with one, but Loa was not, as he asked Sonia to be aware of how cute she was. Sonia flushed when he mentioned that. The inn owner got mad about the situation and asked them to flirt somewhere. Loa assured Sonia that they could earn money tomorrow in the dungeon, as he thought that Sonia was doing that to save money. But he didn't understand her feelings, and we got another dense protagonist here. Seeing Sonia sighing, Loa wondered about the reason for that, as he just acted like a gentleman. The next day arrived. Sonia woke him as always. She had already got some information from the guild at the D-rank dungeon was nearby. Loa came there with his sleepy hair and exclaimed that Sonia was an early bird as always. They were on their way to the D-rank dungeon. They finally reached their destination. Sonia felt nervous as she could sense the high amount of magic particles in the air. On the other hand, Loa was excited. Sonia asked Loa to escape if things went wrong even by himself. She wanted him to use her life, which he saved as per his wish. Basically, she asked him to use her as bait and she was ready to sacrifice herself for him. But he refused to abandon her like that. He was determined to conquer the D-ranked dungeon along with her. They found a normal room upon entering with water flowing in the middle. Sonia heard that this place used to be a sewer. The attributes of monsters in the dungeon depend on their environment, so they could say that the monster in that dungeon could be mostly water element. There were advantages and disadvantages in each element. The advantageous element deals twice the damage, where the disadvantageous element would only reduce the damage by half. Here, Loa's fire skills would be disadvantageous. He was not sure about that, but he wondered if he would be able to defeat them. He was only able to afford 2 shots with his MP. So he wondered if he would be able to defeat the powerful monsters with only that. He was excited to learn how to fight new types of monsters. That's when Sonia announced the arrival of a monster. It was a red armored crab. Loa felt disappointed as he expected more powerful monsters. The monster came in front of them and started to attack them. Loa asked Sonia as usual to get him some time. Sonia used her skill to distract and divert the monster's attraction to her. She stopped the monster's attacks where Loa activated the spell behind her. He used a great fireball and attacked it, but he couldn't one-shot it like before. Seeing it ineffective, he decided to use another attack. The monster fell down from that attack. But Loa's had already exhausted his MP. As Loa let his guard down, the carb monster attacked him. But it was blocked by Sonia with her iron wall skill. She asked Loa to regain his MP as she could hold it in for 10 seconds. Loa used the MP potion he created and drank it to recover. Afterwards, he decided to use a fireball once again as he decided to roast that carb. He once again used a fireball on it. Finally, the monster died and Loa leveled up to 82. They begin to collect the crystal from the monster. But it took Loa 3 shots of fireball to kill one. So he decided to exchange his level for a new skill. He decided to get the lightning javelin, which would cause 2,500 damage in exchange for his 150 MP. The base damage was lower than fireball, but the MP and the cast time was better than it. He chose that skill as it was also an advantageous element against water than fire. Sonia was worried about Loa's low level after his exchange. He would be reduced to level 32 and even one attack would be lethal if it landed on him. But Loa had complete faith in Sonia that she would draw the enemies from him. Sonia felt happy as she came to know Loa's trust in her. He obtained the new magic and was curious to see the use of that magic. So he decided to go deeper into the dungeon to test it with Sonia's approval. But unbeknownst to them, there was a tentacle monster following them from behind. Please like and subscribe to see whether Loa and Sonia would be able to conquer the ranked dungeon. Click on the notification icon to watch more interesting stories like this.